Hello from the ancient city of Chacchoben. Just like all the other ancient sites around the region, not the original name, but due to the Spanish burning all of the books and destroying much of the steles from these Mayan sites, the original name is not known. This site is a pretty old site, and it has the rounded corners similar to what you see in a lot of the sites just north of here, like at Koba. This is the main temple right when you walk in. Most of the buildings, the ruins that are still in existence, are from around the late classic period, from around 700 CE. The city itself goes back as far as 200 BCE, possibly even farther. So Chacchoben, this city, was discovered actually very recently, only 40-50 years ago. A little earlier than that, it was actually discovered by the local Mayan family who basically owned this land and farmed here, but it wasn't until a little more than 5 years after that an archaeologist actually, I guess you can say, discovered this place and actually informed the Mexican authorities about this site. And at that point, Mexican authorities basically reclaimed this land, as they do with any of these ancient cities, but they allowed the village or the family who farmed here to stay here and actually be basically caretakers, guardians of the ancient site. So they actually still live here 40-50 years later. I believe they have a pineapple farm, if I might be mistaken about that. So it wasn't until 1972 that this actually became like an officially known site by the government. And then it wasn't until 20 years later in the 90s that they actually started excavating the site and rebuilding, and much of it is rebuilt. There's supposed to be a way of telling where it was rebuilt because there's a fine paint line, but I actually don't see it here, otherwise I would show you. But this gorgeously reassembled temple is not what it was discovered like. Over here in the woods, you see mounds, which are still completely covered by the vegetation that has grown over it over the hundreds of years since the fall of the city, and that is what they're all discovered like. So really, it's only about this first layer here where this lady is walking. I don't know that she's allowed up there, but that's where basically it was covered to. That kid just got a little bottom smack for going where they weren't supposed to. But anyways, in 92 they started excavating, and then another 10 years later is when this was actually originally opened to the public in 2002. So 20 years later, it is now built up to this point, and it is beautiful. I mean, these temples are gorgeous. The site itself is rather small in comparison with some of the cities like, say, Koba, which spans several miles. You can still walk around here in, I'd say, an hour and a half, 2 hours, but I'm doing a organized tour for my cruise ship, which I really hate doing because I gotta stick with them, and she actually told me I shouldn't wander off, even though it's impossible to get lost. So I'm sticking nearby. Most of the temples here, just like all the other Mayan sites around the region, are not allowed to be climbed. There's a handful of the more obscure sites that still allow you to climb, and I was under the impression you could here, but that is not the case. All the stairs have ropes, only a few stairs up don't allow you up, but you're allowed up this one plateau to basically see the Sun Pyramid, which is this gigantic main pyramid where the sacrifices would have taken place. And there's two ways up to it. There's an easy way, which I did not take, and a hard way, which is quite hard. It doesn't seem like it's that hard of a walk up. It's only, I think, 30 stairs, but every single stair is like knee to chest height. So by the time you get up, you might be a little out of breath like I was. But it is worth it to walk up the pyramid right into the Sun Temple, which if you walked up the small stairs, you would be walking up to like the secondary temple right next to it. I'll be showing you guys that right after I do a circle around this. But just like all these tours, like this is such a rushed experience here, and since this is a cruise ship, they aren't letting me wander off to the extent I'm used to being allowed to wander off when I do these. But it is still worth a visit and just incredible. I love the rounded edge pyramids. I don't understand or know why the Mayans stopped doing that in the later periods, like when you start seeing like the temples in Tulum and such, but these ones are gorgeous. And our guide did actually point out to me the line, the I guess you could say the renovation line or the reconstruction line. It's actually right here along this one. So it's actually very low. It's only about 5 bricks high. That's the area where they found those bricks in their locations. Everything above that line is reconstructed. So very, very, very large chunks of these pyramids are reconstructed. And our guide was actually telling about the reason so few of the temples, the jungles, are actually reconstructed. Because as you're walking through the jungles, there's mounds all over where you will see ruined rubble, but the pyramids are completely uncovered or completely covered up. And it's because when an archaeologist excavates one of those mounds, they aren't just responsible for the cost of the initial excavations, which is very expensive and time consuming. They're also responsible for the ongoing upkeep of those temples, aka trimming the growth and keeping nature from reclaiming the pyramids. So that would just, I mean, you're talking millions and millions of dollars per pyramid that is uncovered. So it's understandable that they try to pick just like the main primary pyramids to uncover. So I've made my circle around this incredible sun pyramid. You can see where people are allowed to climb up to. You're not allowed any higher than that. And I'm gonna head over to this other littler one over here on the side. My guide just saw me shooting all my B-roll shots up here and told me there was some spider monkeys down this way. So I'm gonna scurry down here and try to see them before they run away into the canopies of the trees. Because I have actually never seen a spider monkey in the wild. Saw one in the Amazon at a sanctuary, a rescue, which was pretty incredible. But I love seeing animals in the wild. Like we just saw those coatis over at the ruins in Cozumel. So I'm heading up here, and I assume it's where all these people are standing around taking pictures. So let's see if we can see some spider monkeys. I got distracted by the spider monkeys and spent 10 minutes trying to get good shots of them swinging from the trees and eating the leaves and stuff. So I had to hurry up and get some B-roll shots of that, the little temple, but I'm glad I got to see them monkeys. I think it was worth it. So I'm scurrying to meet up with our group now for the next location. Think of the ancient Mayan sites and other Mesoamerican sites I've seen around Mexico. I think this is one of my favorite locations. Jungle here is just so beautiful. It's not like the extremely dense, overgrown jungles of Coba. It's actually a more tropical jungle. You see a lot more palms and such. It's a whole tree covered with the cicada shells, carcasses, whatever they're called, the part they shed. Lots of bugs, lots of wildlife, but I love it. And you can see into the jungle so much better than you can in the density of Coba or Ekbalam or any of those. Definitely make it out here, but it's freaking hot. It's humid. I think it's well over 90 degrees, approaching 100 degrees out here. And it's probably 90% humidity. So come prepared, bring plenty of water, and enjoy these incredible ancient ruins. When you continue down the trail from the Sun Temple, you walk through some beautiful jungle. There's constantly little pocket ruins all along through the jungle. Then you come upon this area, which isn't like massively built up like the temples, because this is the residential area, which is kind of rarely found at these ancient sites, because large portions of the residential areas are generally built out of wood and they deteriorate and don't linger for us to find. But this whole stretch down here, this whole long stretch, are the bases of the residential area, the houses, and they're actually kind of quartered off. Like there's little breaks that you can see. This one's caved in, but there's breaks all down there of the actual separated houses. And they believe back here was more of the, I guess you could say, the wealthy, not the king, because the king lived in basically one of the main temples. Same with like the shamans of the area. But you can still see these large bases of the houses. Just no roofs anymore. Seems like most of the people kind of skip over this whole little area here. Still worth visiting and getting away from the crowds. Also another warning when walking around. I know I've mentioned all the insects, but there are fire ants here. Nothing like bullet ants or anything like that, but there are mounds, fire ant mounds, and I did almost step in one because I wasn't paying attention. So make sure you're looking where you're walking, because you don't want your feet, especially if you're in sandals, covered in some fire ants. So we've kind of completed the circuit because it's just a circle through here. Obviously the city wasn't like this. It was scattered all through these jungles, but right now they've built this path in a circle, and we've completed it and are at the main first temple again. Our guide was saying they believe that the rooms up here in this temple that we're walking back towards were actually tax collection area. So heading up here to look at that. It's basically on the backside of that first pyramid that you see. But Jesus, I can't believe how freaking hot it is. I'm dying right now. Let's check out this pyramid. I think you're allowed to climb up this one a little farther than you can most of them. So I'm gonna take advantage of that and climb up as far as they allow me. The steps here up into this tiny little room on all of these pyramids that you're allowed to climb here are, I think, the most intense stairs I've ever encountered at one of these ancient Mayan sites. Every single one of them is knee to chest height, so it definitely is kind of tiring to climb up any of them in this heat, but worth it. Yep, it's just two little tiny rooms that you're able to see. Look at this. It's knee high. These stairs are knee high. Every single one of them. It's so crazy. I hate finishing these sites so quickly. The tour said we were given 2 hours here. That is not true. They're giving us 1 hour. So I actually might go and complain to guest services on the cruise and see if I can get a little bit of money back or something, because that is some false advertising. I would have booked my own private way of getting out here if I knew they were going to cut us that short. So I think we're gathering, and I think this is it here at the ruins of Chacchoben, or the place of the red corn. And if you've made it through this whole video and haven't already, hit the like button down below, subscribe, and in my next video I think I'll be going to Alaska, because we have a cruise planned up in Alaska just to knock out the 50th state for my mom. So obviously no ruins in that, but I'll have some videos for you. And if you guys like these videos and you can think of any other ruins that I need to see in the world, please let me know so I can add some pins to my map, because I love my ever-growing map of places I need to see. See you guys in the next video.